Hey everyone, I'm Liz and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Excuse my voice, I'm getting over a cold. But as Nicoria was saying, please say hello and let me get my chat up here so I can read my chat. And where you guys are watching from. I love to see who's joining and where everybody is from. Okay, so we've got New York, South Texas, Tulsa. Hey, I'm Liz. I'm over here in Louisville, Kentucky. Hi from New Jersey. It's been freezing, snowing, and cold, so I'm sure everybody's experiencing similar things. Colorado, New York, and Seattle. Thank you very much for joining me. So today's a beginner class, so I'm assuming I have a lot of beginners with me today, so we are going to go nice and slow. I'll go through everything step by step. It is a blanket, but it's a very super beginner blanket. So we're just gonna kind of go over the basics. This is the blanket though. This is one stitch throughout. So I'm gonna teach you how to do this one stitch and how to work in rows, back and forth in rows. I'll show you how to add a new ball of yarn once you run out of yarn or if you wanna use a new color. And then I'll show you how to fasten off. And that's kind of the basics, like a very basic beginner type of project. So if you're a beginner and you're looking for something just to get you started, this is a great project. And excuse me, if we have time in the end, I see some people from Boston, Washington, DC, Minnesota, and Maryland. Hello from snowy Missouri. If we have time at the end, feel free to ask me any questions you guys have. If it's like beginner, advanced, whatever. If we have time, I'll try to answer as many questions as we can, okay? And also, if you have a question during the presentation or whatever, then just kind of throw it in the chat and I'll keep an eye on the chat, and Nicoria will help me keep an eye on the chat in case anybody has a question or I need to repeat something or go back and re-show you something, okay? Hi from Hades. Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. Pennsylvania, snowy and cold. Yep, same here, same here. Okay, so let me flip over. Go ahead and I showed you the blanket. Here it is. This one's a kind of a tiny baby blanket, but you can, of course, modify it to be any size you want. Just remember, if it's bigger, you need more yarn, okay? Oh, and also the pattern should be in the class materials. It's pretty basic. It's like a couple lines, but we'll use the pattern to go over the blanket, okay? And we're gonna switch over to my other camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Arizona. Okay, so somebody asked me if I can teach a lefty, and I tried so many times to crochet with my left hand, but it's just like impossible for me. But everything that I'm doing, you can do with your left hand. You're just going to go in the opposite direction. Okay. So when you work in crochet, you work from right to left, right to left, right to left. So you work from right to left, you turn, you work from right to left, you turn. What lefties do is they work from left to right, left to right, left to right. Okay. But don't ask me any more than that because it might be wrong. That's as much as I know, unfortunately. Yeah, so I'm sorry that I'm not better at doing lefty. This is the yarn. It's called Chenille Home Slim. I wish sometimes my chat goes away. I want to keep it up here. This is called Chenille Home Slim. This is a nice, soft, squishy chenille yarn, but it can be difficult to see your stitches if you are a beginner because of all of the texture that's surrounding it. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you a couple things on just like a smooth worsted weight yarn as well, just to get you kind of the basics, but we'll also do it on the chenille yarn so you can see the difference and kind of the appearance. And then Avery from Arizona. Okay, so what is the name of the stitch you're doing? It is a half, this one is double crochet. So this one is all double crochet. This is what it looks like in the chenille yarn. This one is a worsted weight yarn, and I'm just using this to show you kind of a sample. These worsted weight smooth yarns like this are good for when you're just starting out and you're just learning because you can see your stitches really well. And there's a special way to open this. Okay, so
hey Liz, we have a question.
Sure.
What size hook?
So the hook, and as with any project, okay, the hook that you see in a pattern, I'll tell you a very important thing about crocheting and knitting. The hook size that you see in a pattern is a recommended hook size, okay? It's not a rule. So when you get a ball of yarn or a pattern, it'll tell you on the back of the label here, like this. It says this yarn recommends a 5.5 millimeter hook. So I would start whatever I'm using with a 5.5 millimeter hook if I'm just making something. Or if I have a specific pattern, the pattern will tell me, like it does right here, a 10 millimeter hook. Okay, so this is for the chenille yarn, size N 10 millimeter hook. But the hook size that you see on a pattern and the hook size that you see on a yarn label is recommended. And the reason it's only recommended is because everybody crochets differently. Everyone has a little bit of a different tension. And the thing that's more important than your hook size is your gauge. Okay, so the gauge should also be listed on the pattern. And that will be, you'll see that right here. It says gauge is 5.5 stitches by 3 rows equals 4 inches. So if you say, okay, I'm going to start with my 10 millimeter hook and I'm going to try to work at a gauge of 5.5 stitches by 3 rows equals 4 inches, and you get that gauge, then you stick with that 10 millimeter hook. If you're not getting that gauge, meaning if you have too many stitches or too few stitches, then you want to go up a hook size or down a hook size. So if you have too few stitches for your gauge, then you want to go up a hook size. You have too few. Let me just think for a second. No, if you have too few, yeah, you want to go down a hook size because you need to have more. If you have too many, you need to go up a hook size because you want to have less. And the larger the hook, the fewer the stitches you're going to have in that gauge. Okay, so the gauge is the most important thing. But if you don't know anything about that, I'll show you. We'll do a gauge measurement so you can see what I'm talking about. This one is giving me a hard time getting it from the center. So usually there's a little piece and I can just pull it out, and sometimes it doesn't always work because this is a brand new skein. There it is. Okay, there's my little piece. So with this yarn, and I'm only showing you this just to get started, and then we'll work with the chenille. So I'm going to use, this is a hook that I usually use. It's a 5.5 millimeter, but this is just a sample. Okay, so use whatever you have on hand. Where she can zoom, we can't see what you're looking at. Oh, so look at your pattern. You should have the pattern. Oh, my highlight and my spot. Yeah, we should be on my hands view. I'm sorry if we're not. I have two devices going, so we should have the pattern, the written pattern, and then yeah, you should be able to see what I'm doing from my hands view. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I got my both devices. So first I'm going to start with a slip knot. Okay, and everything starts with a slip knot. So this is how I do it. I just take the tail end and then I put it over the end that's attached to the ball. So it's like a loop like that. And then I put my my pointer finger and my thumb in there. And I give it like a twist like that. And then I grab the tail. And then when you grab the tail, it pulls it right through. Okay, let's do that again. So make a loop, put the tail over like that. Put these two fingers in there like that and just give it a twist. You don't have to twist it like all the way around, just give it kind of like a one turn. And then that puts you in a position where you can grab the little tail. And then when you grab the little tail, don't pull the whole thing through. When you grab you can make a longer tail if it's easier. When you grab the little tail, just take part of it through and grab that loop part that you grabbed from the little tail. And then I'm going to put my hook in there into my slip knot. So now see how I have a long slip knot? Just going to put my hook into the slip knot, and then you can adjust the slip knot by tightening it, and it'll loosen again too. So it'll tighten or loosen. Now, when I want to get started with my chain, we're going to start with a chain. Yeah, I'll do the knot again. So there's a few ways to do this. You don't have to do it my way, but this is the way I do it. So you just put the tail over like this. Here's my tail. And then you can like cinch it. And then I put my finger in the top part and my thumb and give it just a twist. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to twist it like 360 degrees. Let me see if I can give you a better view. Twist it like that, so that way I can grab the tail. And then when I grab the tail, I just pull the top loop of that little tail through, and it makes that knot. See how it already made the knot? So here's the rest of the tail, and there's the top loop of the knot, and then you can just pull it tight like that. And then it loosens and it tightens. And when you put it on your hook, you don't want it to be loose like this, but you don't want it to be like choking it either, okay? So you want it to be where it can move around like this on your hook. Okay, now this is probably the hardest part, to figure out how to hold your hook and your yarn and your tension. You want to keep your tension throughout, but that's just something that comes with time and practice. So the way I hold it is I put a strand over my pinky, and then I just kind of do this weave thing where I go over, under, and like that. So it's through my fingers, because I want this part of the yarn to just lay over this finger, so that way it feeds through as I'm working. It just glides through my fingers easily. But there's many, many different ways to hold it. Some people just hold it, like do a couple wraparounds your finger like that, which is also perfectly fine. I've seen some people hold it like this, even with these two fingers, which that kind of tightens up my fingers a bit. So I never do that, but I see people do that. That's perfectly fine too. You could do just like that. So you're not weaving it through all fingers. You're only weaving it over the pinky, and I'm holding it with my pinky. Hold it however you feel most comfortable. This is how I hold it. But the most important thing is that you want it to be able to smoothly glide through as you work, and you don't want it to be where it's you're trying to pull yarn through and it's really tight to pull it through like this. That's what you don't want. You don't want it to be like, oh, I can't get it through this hook. Like, look what's happening. I can't get it through my hook. So, but that's something that, like I said, you'll get with time. It takes time to get it that way. When I try to do it with my left hand, that's what happens. I can't pull the yarn through the hook because I can't get my tension right with my left hand. Do we need a long tail for this project? No, you don't need a long tail for this project. You only need a long tail if the pattern calls for it. In some patterns, they tell you to leave a long tail to weave in the ends with, okay? Or to do some seaming with or something like that. Okay, so now that I'm set up, I have my slip knot on here, and I have my yarn. I'm holding my yarn. It's not, I'm going to pull some out so that way it's nice and loose here for me to work, and it's not kind of tight or stuck in the ball or knotted up or whatever, okay? You want it to be nice and loose and flowing. So now I'm just going to chain, okay? So to chain, I'm going to see this area right here where my yarn is ready for me to work. Just going to put my hook under, and then that hook part is going to grab that yarn. Now, if I try to grab it and pull it like that, it's not doing anything. It's just getting snagged. So what you want to do, I'll try to get really close for this. What you want to do is grab it and just turn it. So once you kind of rotate it a little bit, that hook hooks that yarn a lot nicer. And then once I rotate it, I can pull it right on through that first loop that I made. And now I made one chain. And then I can do that again. So I'm going to put my hook under, not over. So under this way. So see how the yarn is like this? It's going sort of to the left of the yarn and under. I'm hooking it and I'm rotating it as I pull it through the next loop that's on the hook already to pull it through. And once I come through, I'm going to rotate it back so that way the hook is turned upward. Okay. Let's do that again. So grab it, rotate downward so the hook's facing downward, and pull it through the loop that's on the hook. Once I get it through, rotate it back upward. Grab it, rotate it downward, pull it through, and then rotate it back upward. So now see what's happening? It's getting a little bit harder for me to handle because my fingers that I'm holding my chain with are all the way down here. So I need to adjust that because I can't, obviously, once this chain gets longer and longer, I can't keep holding it in this spot because look, oh, it won't even, I can't do it. It's going to get really hard. So you have to move these fingers up back to the bottom as you work, okay? Because you're not going to be able to just keep those fingers there. You're going to have to use your other fingers to hold on and secure the chains that you're making as you make them.
Hey Liz, would you be able to show that again?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to show this a few times, don't worry. But I just want you to see, once you kind of get the flow for it, as you're chaining, you're going to move these two fingers to secure your work that you're working. And then you're just going to keep going and going like that. And then this chain will get longer and longer and longer. Okay. Now I'm not going to count the chains yet. I'm just going to keep showing you this a couple of times till we get it. And then we'll count the chains. So back to the beginning. So we're going to do a slip knot. The photo, yeah, so we're just Sandy. This is the yarn that we're going to use for the blanket, but I just want to show everyone, because I know I have a lot of beginners, how to do it with a smooth worsted weight yarn, because it's kind of difficult to see your stitches with the chenille yarn. So you need to practice with a smooth worsted weight yarn that you can see all your stitches very well. And I used a really bright color so you guys can see that too. Okay, slip knot, remember. Over, I put that long tail there so I can grab it. I just make just a little rotation, grab that tail through. So I have a loop there and then pull that loop up and there's my slip knot. Now I'm gonna put that on my hook. There's my first loop on the hook. That's the loop that I need to start, pull my chains through, right, to make my chains. And now I'm set up here. I've got this nice piece of yarn here that's it's gonna flow through my fingers as I make these chains. So I'm holding with these two fingers, with my thumb and my middle finger, I'm holding my work securely. So I have, so I'm holding my work so it's secure. And then I can start working, okay? So I'm going to insert my hook under that loop or under that strand. Now my hook has caught that strand of yarn, and to keep it caught, I'm going to rotate it downward. And when I rotate it downward, it's going to make it nice and easy for me to pull it through the loop on the hook. And when I come back up, I'm going to rotate it back upward.
Hey Liz, we have a question.
Yeah.
Are they chains or stitches?
These are chains. What we're doing right now are chains. Okay. And then again, so under, hook is upward, rotate it so it's downward, pull it through. We're always pulling through the loop that's on the hook, okay? There's always going to be a loop on the hook, like a live loop. So you're always going to pull it through that loop that's on the hook. It's facing upward. As I pull through in one motion, I'm rotating it downward, pulling it through, and then once it's through, I can rotate it back upward. If you don't do the rotation, you can see it just it doesn't really work. So you have to do that rotation. Upward, pull it through, rotate it back upward. And it's really easy. This hand, my right hand, is not really doing anything, but a very like, okay, so some people hold their hook like this, and you can totally do that. That's perfectly fine. If you feel more comfortable holding your hook like this, do that. I hold it like this because I feel like I barely have to move. I just kind of rotate it with these fingers. So just do it however you like. There's no right or wrong way to hold your hook or your yarn. And sometimes you might feel like, oh, this is the way I want to do it. And then after you make a couple projects or you practice a while, you're like, oh no, I think I don't want to hold it that way. And you might switch it up. So just keep practicing till you get comfortable with it and you find a way that you like to hold your hook and your yarn. Okay, so these are the chains. I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over. So Aria said, how many chains do we need on the blanket? And we do have a pattern for the blanket. So we're going to chain right here under instructions. It says chain 46, and that's just to answer a question. Okay, but we'll get to that. So we need 46 for the blanket. But right now I'm just kind of going over some basics for everybody. So here's my chains. Now, here's a nice little thing of chains that I made. This is what I'll show you how to count these. So this is like the one side, and this is the other side. This is the back side. It looks a little different than the front side. It looks like a little braid. If I have, so when I have this on my hook like this, there's a loop right here that does not count as anything. That loop does not count as a chain ever, ever, ever. If I'm working from a pattern and I need to chain a certain amount of chains, I want to count while I'm chaining. But sometimes you lose count. So you have to count, okay? So let's say I lost count. Okay, I need to chain. I need to count my chains. This is one. So each little like V is a chain. So there's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This doesn't count as anything. This loop doesn't count as anything. So I have 14 chains. Each little kind of V of the braid is a chain. And if it's hard to see, you can also turn it over if this is easier. This might be hard also. And you can count these little bumps. So there's a bump, a bump, a bump. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 little bumps. So either way, you can count your chains, okay? I can't get started. Please show again. I'll show this again. This is the slip knot. It's hard to get started. I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. The hardest part is getting started, to be honest. Everything else after that is actually going to be easier. Every single stitch that I teach you or that you learn, reading patterns, all that stuff, none of it is as hard as just getting started because it's something you've never done before. But because it's so repetitive, once you do it a few times, just a few times, like maybe once you make one project, you'll get a lot more used to it because you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over. So the hardest part is getting started. So don't give up. Just once you can get the repetition down, it's smooth sailing. So here's my slip knot. Grab it, pull that little tail through. Hold the yarn to where you think it's going to glide through nicely. And if you're struggling pulling it through, then you just need to keep practicing and try to loosen up your tension and try to get everything to where it's not, too tight and stuff. And then I'm going to go this strand that's here. I'm going to go under the strand and rotate my hook downward so it pulls through that loop, and then rotate it back up. Rotate it downward, rotate it back up. Go under the strand, not over, not to the right, to the left. So to the left and under, see? Rotate it downward so you can pull it through. And don't pull this like that, right? That's going to tighten everything up or loosen everything up depending on how you're holding it. Just try to keep everything nice and easy. Like, don't tighten anything up. Just kind of keep your movements nice and easy, slow and steady. Don't try to force anything. Once you're trying to like force it, it's it becomes a problem. And remember, as you're working these chains, you're going to have to keep moving these two fingers up to hold your work and keep everything in place. Okay, so there's some chains. It's really hard to see stitches with chenille yarn. I have a few tricks for that, and I'll go over them. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Okay, so here are my chains. Let's move on to making a double crochet. This pattern calls for a double crochet. I'm not going to make 46 chains because I'm just showing you this little sample, okay? But the pattern tells me to chain a 46. So what we just did, we'll do that for 46. And then if you lose count, just count your chains like I showed you and make sure you have 46. And to be honest, with this pattern, if you don't have 46 or if you have a couple more, a couple less, it's not going to matter because it's all double crochet anyways. So whatever, if you want to like keep chaining until you have a nice length that you want, you can do that too. If you're like, I don't know how to count these, then just chain a bunch. But remember, you might need more yarn. So let's pretend I've counted 46. My pattern tells me to double crochet DC, which means double crochet, in the third chain from the hook and in each chain across. CH is chain. What we did was chain, okay? So remember, this loop is not a chain. That's just the loop that's always on the hook. It never counts as anything. So I want to count down 3 chains from my hook. Here's my hook. Here's my first chain, because this one doesn't count. That's the loop on the hook. 1, 2, 3. That's the third chain from the hook. So I need to put a stitch into that chain to make a double crochet. This is not all stitches. This is only double crochet. What I need to do is what's called a yarn over. So kind of like I did the chains, most of these movements are going to be the same. I need to put my hook under this strand of yarn, just like I did with a chain, and grab it. But instead of pulling it through like we have been, we are going to go put that hook into that third chain, okay? So here's the third chain. Remember, you need to go into where the pattern tells you to go into, which is the third chain right there. I'm going to grab a strand of yarn. So now I've yarned over. That's called a yarn over. That strand is yarned over my hook. And then I'm going to insert my hook. So I have to angle it in, put it right through the center of that chain. So let's do that again. Here I am set up just like we were. Yarn over, so meaning grab a strand of yarn and place it over your hook, do your kind of rotation, and then just insert it right into the center of that chain. And now if you look at the hook, I have 1, 2, 3 loops. Well, I have 2 loops and then I'm sort of inside the center of the chain, okay? Now I want to yarn over again. So grab another strand, and just like we were pulling through the chains, we're going to pull that through. I mean, just like we were pulling through the loops on the hook, we are going to pull it through the chain, the third chain. So pull it through, rotate it back upwards, and now it should look something like this. Now I have these 1, 2, 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again. And now I want to pull this one through, but only through the first 2. This one and this one. So pull it through, do your rotation. Always, always, always do your rotation. Pull it through only the first two. Rotate my hook back upward. Now I have two more on my hook. 1, 2. Now I'm going to do that one last time. So yarn over, pull it through both of those loops, and back up. Now see, now that I came back out of that stitch, I still have that loop on my hook. You're always going to have a live loop on your hook. Okay. Difference between single and double, I think it's similar. Yeah, so this is a double crochet stitch. It's not the same as a single. And oh, there you go. There's the instructions, Jane. This is a double crochet because this is the stitch that's in the blanket. But if we have time later, I'll show you a couple other stitches too. Okay, so now all I have to do, because I've made that first double crochet, all I have to do, it looks a little weird. It looks like it's this, it looks like it's coming out this way, but don't worry, it'll stack up. They'll stack up on the chain, you'll see. Now what I want to do is do that same stitch in each and every one of these chains that I made all the way back to the end. So I can show you this a few times, okay? Now here's that first stitch. I already worked into that first chain, not stitch, chain. Here's my next chain that I want to work into. It's right there. Right there. So I'm going to yarn over again. That's how I start my double crochet. Yarn over, insert right into that chain. So just go right into the center of it. And then yarn over again. Pull through. Wait. Sorry, sometimes when I do it slow, I get confused. Okay, so yarn over, insert, and then pull it through. So that way you have the 3 loops. And then we want to do the yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. So yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. So now it's looking a little bit more like it's standing up like a double crochet. Eileen, I'm only using the thin yarn to show people how to do a double crochet. So I'll do a few of these and then we'll move on to the chenille yarn, okay? But this is the basic concept for the blanket. It's just all double crochets. Okay, so we're going to yarn over again, insert into the very next chain, yarn over, pull through. So you have 3 loops. Yarn over again, pull through 2. Yarn over again, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert into the next chain. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert into the next chain. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. This is the same stitch. I'm doing it over and over and over. So just keep watching. This is the same. These are all double crochets. See how they look exactly the same. If you look at them, they look like a nice tall stitch. Yarn over, insert into the chain. Yarn over, pull through. Now see what I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through only the first 2. Now I have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, and I still have my live loop on the hook, which I will always have. That's another double crochet. Now let's do another double crochet. Yarn over. It always starts with the yarn over. Insert into the next chain. Yarn over, pull through the chain. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull only through the first 2. 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through those, oops, sorry. Yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. The double crochet is complete and I have the live loop on my hook. The big yarn is not great for beginners. You are right. That's why I want to show everybody with the smooth yarn. So I want everybody to practice with the smooth yarn, and then you can try the big yarn. Okay, yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, and I still have the live loop on my hook, and the double crochet is complete. And the same thing when I was working the chains, I'm holding my work, whether it's double crochets or whether it's a chain, I'm just holding it securely with these 2 fingers as I work through, and these fingers are going to move because my work is going to get bigger, right? So I'm going to have to adjust how I hold it, but however I hold it, I want to hold it at the spot where I'm working, so that way I have it nice and secure. Okay, so let's do one more double crochet. Yarn over, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and that double crochet is complete, and I have the live loop on my hook. I didn't know we were supposed to have other yarn to figure this out. The chenille keeps slipping and not catching the needle. You don't have to have other yarn to figure it out. The chenille won't slip when I do it. I'll show you. For beginners, any yarn is gonna slip and not catch. It's just until you get used to how to hold the yarn and hold the hook and all that stuff. It takes time and practice. It's probably better for you to, as a beginner, to practice with just a smooth weight yarn. Anything, this is like just like the super cheap acrylic, not cheap, but it's like the most inexpensive yarn, just like a regular acrylic fiber. When I say cheap, I just mean like you don't need like fancy wool or like 100% cotton or something like that. Acrylic is best for a lot of projects, and it's best for when you're learning because it doesn't slip weird. It doesn't have like a lot of fuzz. It sort of has a little bounce to it. It doesn't drape weird. It's just kind of like the perfect yarn. So if you can find some inexpensive acrylic somewhere that's just like a solid color worsted weight like this, if you feel like you need to practice with it, then, I would recommend that. But I'll show you with the chenille yarn, so don't worry. Okay, so this is what our double crochets should look like, okay? Now this is what it looks like with a nice, smooth worsted weight yarn. Here's what it looks like with the chenille. You can see the appearance is quite different, right? This has a lot of fuzz on it, so it's going to make the stitches, and also it's a much thicker yarn, so it's going to make the stitches look very, very different. And if I look, when we were talking about gauge, if I count these double crochets that I made here on this number, on this worsted weight yarn, which is a number 4 yarn, I think this is a number 6 yarn. So this is so the yarns come in different weights. This is like a bulky weight. This is a medium weight. If I count these double crochets, I have one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is one double crochet, this post looking thing. This is one double crochet. So obviously it's taller and it's wider. So that's what we refer to. Oh, I was looking for my measuring tape. When we say gauge. So if I'm discussing gauge, I would take my measuring tape and I would measure 4 inches. Okay, hold on. Let me just get Moody up to get my measuring tape. Here we go. Just a real quick breakdown of this, okay? What I would do is I would say, okay, this is kind of a bad measuring tape, but let's say this is the beginning of my measuring tape and this is my 4-inch mark. So I would mark here from here to here. And I would say, okay, that's 4 inches. Now, how many stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So that means my gauge is 5 stitches in 4 inches. So for every 4 inches, I'm going to work 5 double crochets. And that's what it says in the pattern, 5.5 stitches, right? So it's probably more like 5.5 because the 4 is right here. So this is actually exactly right there. Usually your patterns don't have half stitches, but when it's this big thick yarn, you'll see it in half stitches, okay? So that's my gauge. Now, if I were to be working with a pattern with this thinner yarn, and I say, okay, let's see how many 5 stitches is. In this yarn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches is only 1.5 inches. So you can see the difference. And that's really just going to matter the most. It always matters. Always get your gauge if you're working from a pattern. Always, always, always make sure you get the correct gauge in the pattern. If you don't need to adjust your hook size. But it matters the most if you're making something that needs to fit on the human body. So a hat, gloves, a sweater. If you don't get the correct gauge, your sweater's never going to fit, your hat's never going to fit. If you don't get the correct gauge in a blanket, the worst thing that's going to happen is your blanket's going to be a little too big or a little too small, which, you know, okay, and now it's a throw instead of like a bedspread or something. But of course, for hats, it's going to be totally useless if you don't get the right gauge because it's going to be too tight and you're not going to be able to wear it. So that's why gauge is important. How do you know what needle size goes with the yarn? So Melanie asked, how do you know what needle size goes with the yarn? The needle size or the hook size needle for if you're knitting, the hook size will be on the back of the yarn label. But remember, the hook size that's listed on the yarn label and the hook size is listed on the pattern is a recommendation. What you need to pay attention to is your gauge. Because if you don't get the gauge, it doesn't matter if you've used, I could use the right hook size that the pattern recommends, but I don't get the right gauge because my tension is tighter or my tension is very loose, which means my sweater's not going to fit, even though I used the hook size that the designer told me to use, but I didn't get the right gauge. So make sure you get the right gauge no matter what hook you're using. You will usually only have to go up or down 1 or 2. But what you want to do is make a little swatch. So just make like 20 chains and then work like maybe 10 rows of whatever stitch and then do the measurement. And if that measurement is correct, what the pattern tells you, then you use that hook that you used to make the swatch with. If it's not right, meaning if you got too many or too few stitches in that 4-inch segment, then you need to adjust your hook size and do another gauge swatch and do that until you get the correct gauge. So that way, when you make a sweater, you don't make a whole entire sweater and then it doesn't fit, okay? I hope that makes sense. I know that was kind of a lot. How do you undo a double crochet? If you want to undo any stitch, it's very easy. It's way harder to undo in knitting, guys. That's just an aside. If you knit, it's very hard. It's, for me, in crochet, it's really easy. So this is the tail that I'm like the working tail. I'm just gonna pull it. Boom, boom, boom. I undid it. See?
Hey Liz, we have a question.
Yeah.
Can you give clarity regarding the gauge?
Sure. What can you be a little bit more specific? Because I feel like I just talked a lot about it and I don't want everybody else to be like, why are you repeating the same thing? And while I'm waiting for that, I will show you how to do it with this chenille home yarn. See how thick this ball is? What is it? Oh, the gauge specifically is how many stitches and how many rows your work has within a specific measurement. Usually it will be in a 4-inch increment. So when you see a pattern, and even on the back of the yarn label, it will say 4 inches. See, can you see that right there? It says 4 inches by 4 inches. So pretend this little picture, they're telling you this little picture is a swatch, and a swatch is just a little piece of like a square of work. So this is a little swatch, and they're telling you this swatch, if you measured it, will be 17 stitches by 23 rows, and that it will measure 4 inches by 4 inches. So this is just a guesstimate because a stitch can be a half double crochet, single crochet. They're going to be a little different. So this is, again, kind of an estimation. Always go by your actual work, because my work is going to measure different than your work, because my tension might be looser than your tension. So what you do is you just make this would be a perfect gauge swatch. It doesn't have to be 5 inches by 5 inches. It can be 6 by 6. It has to be more than 4 by 4, right? So I usually say about 5 inches by 5 inches, but let's just say I want this to be my gauge swatch, right? Then what I would do is I would just make a bunch of double crochets. If I want to measure my pattern in double crochets, you have to measure your gauge in whatever stitch you're using for the pattern. Otherwise it's kind of not very useful, right? Because if your blanket is in all single crochet stitches and you get your gauge in double crochet stitches, that's not telling you any good information. The information that you need is going to be the exact stitch that you are using for that pattern. So let's just say I finish this off, okay? And then I work another row and another few rows, and then I'm going to go, okay, here's my little swatch. Let's say it's like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure 4 inches. That's why you want it bigger, because you want to be able to measure within. You want to be able to measure 4 inches within that swatch. So usually it should be like about 5 by 5 or 6 by 6. I'm just going to put my measuring tape here and here, and I'm going to put maybe a couple little pins or something. And say, okay, here's 4 inches. Now, usually this is going to be bigger. This is knitting. I only have a bunch of fancy stuff in there. Okay, so let's just pretend this is bigger. So I'll put one here, and I'll put one here. And I'll say, okay, that's 4 inches. From this pin to this pin is 4 inches. And then I'll just count. How many stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 double crochets in 4 inches. 14 double crochets equals 4 inches. And if I go back to my pattern, and my pattern says 13 double crochets equals 4 inches is the gauge for this pattern. Oh, well, I'm getting 14. So that means I have a few too many. And if I make a big piece, that's going to, in the end up being like a couple inches. So you don't want your sweater to be 2 inches too big on this side and 2 inches too big on the other side, right? So it's going to add up. So you want to get your gauge to be as exact as possible. If I have 14 and my gauge says I should have 13, I need to go up 1 hook size. So I would go from a 5.5 to a 6. And I would say, okay, I'm going to use a bigger hook because I need fewer stitches in this 4 inches. So I want them to be a little bit bigger. The bigger hooks are going to make bigger stitches, or just kind of like wider. So I would go up a hook size, and then I would do that process again where I'd make a whole swatch and do the measurement again. Okay. All right. I don't want to get too bogged down on gauge, but to be honest, it's not a bad idea to get bogged down on gauge, because it's like the #1 most important thing in crochet, especially if you're making, like I said, something that needs to fit a human being. So for this, or a dog, if you're making a dog sweater, same thing. For this thick yarn, I'm going to use a 10mm hook. That's what the pattern tells me. So that's what I'm going to use. So let's try to do our chain just like we did with the other yarn. We're going to do it with this yarn. And I'm going to show you kind of the difference, because there is a big difference. So let's do that slip knot just like we did. There's no difference in the stitches or anything, or the method or the technique. The yarn is very different though. Here's a slip knot. And then I'm just going to put my hook right on there, like I did with the smooth yarn. Tighten it up slightly, not too much. Yeah, you can start with the chenille yarn now. If you want, I'll make 47 stitches and then we'll do a couple rows and then I'll show you how to switch yarns, okay? So let's yarn over, pull through, just like I did with the smooth yarn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you drop your hook, oh, just put it right back. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 20, dropped it again, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and 46. So that 46 chains, that should give me a blanket that's according to the pattern, as long as I get the correct gauge, 32 or 30 inches wide. So it's going to be a baby blanket, right? Here's my chains. See, they look exactly the same as they did with the other yarn. They're just bigger and fluffier. So here's the braids. This is the loop on the hook. That doesn't count. Here's a chain, a chain, a chain. 1, 2, 3 chains from the hook. That's that one right there. We want to work a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3. There it is. So yarn over, insert right into the chain, just like we did before. Yarn over, pull. See, I'm still rotating my hook. Pull that loop through the chain. And now that I have those 3 loops on the hook, I'm going to yarn over again, rotate, pull through the first 2 loops, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over again, rotate, pull through those 2 loops on the hook. And now the double crochet is complete and I have that 1 live loop on my hook. And if you look at it like this, those first 2 chains that we skipped, those are going to be a double crochet. So those are going to count as a double crochet. And then this other double crochet that we just made will be the 2nd double crochet. And then we'll make a 3rd in here, right? So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. If your chains are spinning a little bit, they shouldn't really do that. As you're chaining or as you're chaining, try not to let them do that. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but it's going to be probably harder for you to work into them if they're not like a nice kind of braid like this. It might be because this yarn does do a kind of a little like spirally thing like that. So try to just pull some out and maybe make it like nice and straight like this. Pull some out of the ball and have it just like hanging and dangling so that way it doesn't get twisted up. Maybe it's the yarn twisting on you. So just try to keep the yarn nice and straight and try again as I'm chaining. And make sure you're holding your piece like this with your hands. So you're feeding it like this as you're working and the chain's getting longer like that. Hold this, move your fingers up so you're holding it. And the ones that are down there, that's okay if they dangle, but just keep these straight like this. Like it's okay if it moves like this, because once you straighten it out, it'll be straight. Okay, so let's do another double crochet. I don't think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a few really quick, okay? But I'm doing the same thing that we did with the orange yarn. I'm just gonna double crochet in each chain across. It's hard to see, that's why I recommend, it's only hard to see if you haven't done it a bunch of times. So that's why I recommend just practicing. I can see my chains, I can see the braids. I'm looking for the little braids. And counting is always gonna help you. So if you're worried that you're not going into the chains, stop and do a count. So I would say, okay, let me count here. This is 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That one's going into that chain. So then I can count the rest of the chains and make sure that I haven't skipped any. But see this post here, you can tell that like column or post, that's a double crochet. So the double crochets are pretty easy to see from the side. They're not really easy to see from the top. So let's do a few more of these so that way I can show you how to do the next row, because we haven't even done that. Whoops. And if this yarn snags, because this yarn is like, it's like fuzz wrapped around a thread, sometimes it'll snag and the fuzz will kind of come off. If that happens and you have like a bald spot, just cut it and restart in a new section. It's not happening at all with this one, so. But you'll know what I'm talking about if you see it. If you yank this yarn too much, like if you take a piece and try to pull it through too tight or this one's really strong, but I doubt you guys will have any trouble with this one because I'm trying my hardest and I can barely get it to work. But once in a while, the fuzz will come off the strand and you'll have like a little bald spot. But as you can see, I'm like really trying to get this one and it's not working. So it probably won't happen to you. Don't try to do this. But if it happens by accident because you're yanking or something, if you have like that, just cut it and then cut those bald spots off and restart with a new strand, okay? All right, so let's pretend I've worked all the way, in the interest of time, I've worked all the way to the end. So I keep going until I get to this very last chain and I put a double crochet in the very last chain. So let's pretend this is the last chain right here, okay? Now I want to do another row, which we haven't done yet. So that's why I feel like I need to get to that before we run out of time. So now I'm going to chain up 3. And the reason that I want to chain up 3 is because I need to get to this height of this row. I want my rows to be the same height. So in order to start working across this way, we are going to chain up 3. And that first chain of 3, oh, in this pattern, it's 2. Chain 2. So we're going to go to the end of the row. We did this, and then we're just going to turn at the end of the row, and we're going to chain up 2. But typically we do the chain before we turn. So that's just the way patterns are written. So we're going to chain up 2 for row 2. And this is just like when you do the starting chains. 1, chain just like we did when we started, 2. And that's a double crochet. And now I'm just going to turn this whole thing, because we're always going to be working from right to left, right to left. So we work from right to left, we turn. We work from right to left, we turn, if you're right-handed. So now this is my first double crochet, and you can see it's stacked on top of this double crochet. So what I want to do is put this way and look and see these stitches. These stitches are very hard to see, because these stitches that we need to work into are the tops of the stitches that we just made. We need to work double crochets into the tops of the double crochets from the previous row. So this, you can see the V, it's almost like a chain. There's a V, there's a V, there's a V. With this yarn, it doesn't really look like a V, it almost looks like a little oval maybe, but you see it has a strand and a strand, or a loop and a loop. Each one has 2 loops, front loop and a back loop. What you want to do is put your hook under both of those loops where this needle is, see? Under both the loops. So what I'm going to do, when it says the chain 2 counts as a double crochet throughout, that means we are not putting anything into this first stitch, because this is already worked into that first stitch. Okay, and that already counts as that double crochet. So if I were to put another double crochet right here where this double crochet came out of, I would be increasing, and I don't want to do that. And then what would happen is my piece would start going like this. It wouldn't be even, because I wouldn't have an even amount of stitches for each row. So do not put a double crochet under those first 2. Put it under the next one. So just like we did with row 1, yarn over, and instead of inserting into the chain like I did, I'm going to insert under both of those loops. See that? Right under both of those loops. Yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on the hook, just like before. A lot of this is very repetitive. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now I've made another double crochet in that double crochet from the previous row. The goal with a blanket, so that way it is square or rectangular, is to make sure you have the correct amount of stitches for each row. Because once you start accidentally increasing or decreasing, you're not going to have a square or a rectangle. You're going to have like a trapezoid. Okay, so yarn over. Now I'm going under the next stitch, which is right there. See my hook? Move this out of the way so you can see. Under those 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Did you say count 3 stitches? No, what I said was I said count your stitches every row. So at the end of the row, or while you're crocheting, if you can, count your stitches to make sure for every row you work, you have 45 double crochets. You need to have 45 double crochets every single row. If you don't, you're gonna have a weird shape. If you're like one row, you got 40, it's gonna be crazy looking. Okay, so insert in the next one and double crochet. I'm going to show you just really quick with this yarn so you can see, just in case you can't see what I'm inserting into for the next row. So when I said chain up 2, that's just at the beginning of the row, remember? That's just to bring us up to the height that we need to. So that's a chain 1 and a chain 2. That's the first double crochet of the row. And then I turn my piece. So that way I'm working this way. Okay, I'm working into the tops of these stitches. Now it's really hard to, it's not hard, it just takes some getting used to. So these are the 2 chains that I just made. 1, 2. This looks like I should be working into there, but I shouldn't, because that chain 2 counts as a double crochet. So we don't want to put another double crochet in there, otherwise we will have too many. So don't work anything into that first stitch. You go into the next stitch, okay? And that's only at the beginning of the row, because that chain 2 counts as a double crochet. And now if you look at it from the side, you can see, okay, that makes sense. That's a double crochet stacked on that double crochet. And there's a double crochet from the previous row and another one on top. And then you can see those are the 2 loops from the top down. You can see those are the 2 loops. My hook is going under those 2 loops, and I'm pulling through, and I'm completing a double crochet. Okay, and that's the same stitch throughout the whole pattern. So as you continue to go through, and you're going to go up to 46. Remember, you're going to go to 45 double crochets for each row, according to the pattern. See how the pattern only goes to row 2? Because after row 2, it's the same thing. You just double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. I'm going to do 1 double crochet slow for Aria. Yarn over, insert under the 2 loops, pull through, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2 only, and now there's 2 more on the hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and the double crochet is complete, and there's a live loop on my hook, okay? And now you can see what I've created are more stitches, those 2 loops, just like we did before. So once we get to the end of this row, I have to show you how to get to the end of the row, because you need to work on top of that chain. So I'm going to do these quickly, pretty quickly. Just double crocheting. And now when I get to the end, where am I? So I have 1 more stitch here. It's kind of difficult because it's sort of curved up like that, but this double crochet right here is a stitch. So don't forget to work your last double crochet into that stitch. Those were those first 2 chains that we skipped in the beginning. So it's not going to be as pretty. It's going to look kind of like it's lopsided, but just don't forget to work a stitch into there, okay? And then at the end of each row, if I'm a beginner, I'm going to stop and I'm going to count, and I'm going to make sure I have the 45 double crochets. And I'm going to make sure that I count those first 2 chains as a double crochet, because they always count, right? So I would count each row, make sure I'm at the right stitch count. And now I would chain up 2 again, 1, 2, turn my work, and then just repeat all the way across. Okay. My girls have a double crochet video on YouTube. You can watch this, you can rewatch this YouTube video, but there's probably a bajillion double crochet videos if I were to guess. And I want to show you guys something really quick. I just want to show you what happens when you run out of yarn. Like if your ball is done, you need to add a new ball. See, my ball is done, and don't let it go till like the very end. You need a little bit of slack for this. Let's say, okay, my ball is done. I need to add a new ball. This is the new ball. So you're going to add that at the end of the stitch. So I'm going to start a stitch. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2. Now this is the last leg of the stitch. So normally I would yarn over and pull through these last 2 loops, right? But because I need to add a new yarn, I want to add my new ball at this point. So I'm just going to drop this piece, and I'm going to grab the new piece from the new ball and just pop that right on the hook, and then pull through to finish the stitch with the new ball. And then I'm gonna, that's the tail, don't use the tail. Then from the one that's connected to the ball, I'm just gonna continue on, okay? That's how you add a new ball. You wanna add it at the last leg of the last stitch. And then I just continue on with the new ball, and now I'll have these tails here, just like I'll have in the beginning of my work. And then all you have to do for these tails to get rid of them is put them on a little needle, tapestry needle. For this one, you need kind of a fat one. And then I'm just gonna put it under any loop, doesn't matter what loop, any old loop. Pull it through, and then I'll put it under a couple other loops because this is just gonna be hidden in there. So you just kind of zigzag it around. And this will not fall out. Trust me, it will not fall out. People always think that it falls out and they think they need to make knots. You don't need to make knots. You don't want knots in your work. This will never, ever, ever fall out, I promise you. And then I just kind of zigzag it around. And once I've gotten a few zigzags woven in there, I just cut it and boom, the tail's gone. So that's how you weave in your ends. I didn't want to leave that out because that's very important. One more thing. I know we're over time, but I want to tell you guys one more thing. I just want to give you my personal tips for working with chenille yarn, okay? Number one, make sure you have really, really good light. If you need to go outside and sit like in the sun, I know there's not any now, but, or get like a light, a ring light or something, just sit by your brightest light so you can really kind of visualize those stitches. If you don't have good lighting, you're just making it really hard on yourself, okay? So when you're working with this, number one, extra good light to see your stitches because it is more difficult to see your stitches with the chenille yarn. Number two, if you want, you can, and I do this a lot. I take a worsted weight yarn like this one, a nice, smooth, simple acrylic in the same color. So obviously I wouldn't use orange. I would use an off-white. And what I would do is just take that yarn. If I'm like, I just really can't see my stitches with this, I would I would start with the yarn, not at this point. I would start with the smooth yarn, and I would just work them both together. So what will happen is, remember, do this at the beginning. This is just my quick tip before we go. What will happen is if I'm holding both of these strands together, right? This, okay, let's just say I worked a few with both strands. This yarn will kind of give me a little bit of a clue. So now this is orange, but if this were off-white, I would still be able to see this pretty good. It gets kind of buried in there, but if I look, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a stitch I can see. Okay, there's a stitch because I can see that smooth strand. There's a stitch, so because I can see that smooth strand. And I would be able to kind of, that would give me a clue, like here's a stitch, here's a stitch, here's a stitch. Yet all you would see is those little bit of smooth strands kind of woven into your work. Now you're going to see it. Yeah, you're going to see it a little bit. It's not going to look like this. It's going to look like there's another strand woven in there. But if you think that's kind of fun and, you know, it doesn't really matter the appearance, again, off-white, not orange, then do that if it makes it easier to see your stitches. Just work with those two strands held together the whole time. And if you want to do a little bit of a thinner yarn to hide it even more, you can do that too. But it does kind of pop out at you when you're trying to see the stitches. So that's another one of my tips. Just work along with a smooth yarn so it kind of gives you a clue as to where those stitches are. But again, it all comes with practice. I don't have a problem seeing my stitches with this yarn at all anymore, just because I have to work with it a lot. And, you know, it's just kind of so repetitive that you get it. So everything comes down to practice. I know I was pretty long-winded, but thank you guys for sticking with me. It takes time and practice. If you want, you can re-watch the class on YouTube as many times as you need to, but we basically went over everything. It's just a repeat of that row over and over and over again. When you need a new ball, add a new ball like I showed you. When you're done, cut your ends and weave them in. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks again for going overtime with me. And next time I'll be here for something a little bit fun, which is going to be embroidery on knitwear. If anyone's into that, I'm going to do that next month. But yeah, thanks so much. And I will see everybody next time. Stay warm, guys.